In 1952, a full-page advertisement appeared in Life magazine. A doctor in a white coat, smiling, holding a cigarette. The headline read, "More doctors smoke Camels than any other cigarette." It wasn't satire, it ran in 50 medical journals across America. Millions of people read it and thought, if doctors smoke, it must be safe. Today, cigarettes kill around 8 million people every single year. But this wasn't a mistake. It wasn't ignorance. This was the most successful addiction campaign in human history, and it started long before any advertisement. About 1,000 years ago in what is now Central America, a priest knelt before a fire. He held a bundle of dried leaves. He lit them. He breathed in the smoke. This wasn't pleasure, this was prayer. The Maya believed tobacco was a bridge between worlds, a way to speak to gods. Doctors used it for headaches, wounds, plague, and anxiety. For centuries, it was medicine. For hundreds of years, tobacco stayed in the Americas. Then everything changed. In October 1492, a Spanish sailor named Rodrigo de Jerez stepped off a ship. The local people gave him dried leaves. He tried them. He liked them. He brought them home. Back in Spain, neighbors watched smoke pour from his mouth and nose. They reported him to the Inquisition. He was jailed for practicing witchcraft. But the plant spread faster than any jail could contain it. By the 1560s, a French diplomat named Jean Nicot sent tobacco to the Queen of France. He told her it cured migraines. She tried it. She was convinced. European doctors soon prescribed tobacco for headaches, plague, bad breath, even fever. They were wrong about all of it. But for 2 centuries, tobacco was medicine. Then in 1881, something happened that changed the scale of everything. A man named James Bonsack invented a cigarette rolling machine. Before it, cigarettes were rolled by hand. Slow, expensive, limited. His machine produced 120,000 cigarettes a day. One machine replaced 48 workers. A businessman named James Duke bought the patent. Within a decade, he controlled 40% of the American market. Cigarettes were suddenly cheap, portable, everywhere. But people still needed a reason to want them. The real turning point came in 1917. When America entered World War I, tobacco companies saw an opportunity. They lobbied the government to include cigarettes in every soldier's daily ration. General Pershing sent a telegram back home. Tobacco is as indispensable as daily food. Free cigarettes, every single day, for every soldier in the field. By the end of the war, millions of young men had built a daily nicotine habit. They came home, they kept smoking. Their children watched them. Then World War II came. Same playbook, bigger scale. By 1945, nearly 80% of American men smoked. But the military alone didn't build a mass market. That required something else. It required turning cigarettes into an identity. In Hollywood, every hero smoked. Every detective lit up in the tent scene. Humphrey Bogart, James Dean, Audrey Hepburn, Gary Cooper. Studios were paid. Cameras found the cigarette. Audiences copied what they saw. And then came the campaign that rewrote the rules entirely. In 1929, a publicist named Edward Bernays organized a march through New York City. He was hired by the American Tobacco Company to crack a market they couldn't reach: women. He told the marchers to light cigarettes publicly. He called them torches of freedom. The press covered it. The message spread. Smoking was liberation, equality, power. Within a decade, female smoking rates doubled. Bernays had used feminism to sell addiction. By the 1940s, cigarettes were everywhere. But so was a new problem. Lung cancer cases were rising sharply. Doctors were noticing. In 1950, researchers Dahl and Hill published a landmark study directly linking smoking to lung cancer. The tobacco executives read it, and instead of warning the public, they hired scientists to manufacture doubt. Not to disprove the research, just to blur it. To make ordinary people uncertain enough to keep buying. In 1954, the industry published the Frank Statement, signed by 448 tobacco companies. It promised independent research. That research was designed to delay truth, not find it. They needed just enough confusion to keep people smoking for another generation. But the darkest chapter was happening behind closed laboratory doors. As early as 1963, Internal Brown and Williamson documents show executives knew the truth. They knew nicotine was addictive, they had it in writing, and they buried it. They were also engineering cigarettes to deliver more nicotine faster, deeper into the body. Their internal word for it was impact. Higher impact meant faster addiction. Faster addiction meant loyal customers. In 1994, 7 tobacco chief executives were called before the United States Congress. One by one, under oath, each of them raised their right hand. And one by one, all 7 said, "I believe nicotine is not addictive." All 7, under oath, knowing what their own scientists had written 30 years earlier. There is one image that captures all of this better than any document: the Marlboro Man. Introduced in 1954, the same year as the Frank Statement. Freedom, ruggedness, open sky, no warning label, no cancer ward. The original Marlboro Man was an actor named Wayne McLaren. He died of lung cancer in 1992. He was 51 years old. Before he died, he testified before Congress against the tobacco industry he had helped build. The second Marlboro Man, David McLean, also died of lung cancer. The men who sold the image could not survive the product. By the end of the 20th century, tobacco had killed 100 million people, more than both world wars combined. Today, 1.3 billion people on Earth still smoke. Most started before the age of 18. And most believe, somewhere deep down, that quitting is simply a matter of willpower. But here is what the documents, the laboratories, and the Senate hearings actually show. Nicotine reaches your brain in 7 seconds, faster than most injections. An intravenous injection takes 15 to 30 seconds. A cigarette takes 7. The craving you feel is not a character flaw. It is a feedback loop engineered in a laboratory. Engineered by people who wrote it down, hid it for decades, and swore under oath they didn't know. The ritual, the image, the torch of freedom, the doctor in the ad. None of it was for you. All of it was aimed at you. Tonight, around 5.5 trillion cigarettes will be smoked on this planet. Each one is the end of a chain that begins not with desire, but with a decision made in a boardroom. A decision to engineer a habit, disguise it as freedom, and sell it to the world. You were not weak. You were not undisciplined. You were targeted by the most sophisticated behavior engineering operation in human history. And the first step to walking away from a trap is knowing exactly who built it. Now you do.